What's going on, guys? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to talk about the Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev fight that is coming up on August 17th, right there in Chicago, Illinois, inside the United States of America. We got Dricus Du Plessis, one of the best middleweights on the entire planet. Khamzat Chimaev is one of the best middleweights challenging for the title as well, and of why I believe Dricus Du Plessis is going to go out there and really beat up on Khamzat Chimaev. Now, I think that this is a very unpopular opinion, but I do think that there is a lot of evidence to back up why Dricus Du Plessis is one of the most special fighters inside the UFC. Truly, I want to talk about why I do think he's going to go out there and beat Khamzat Chimaev, retain his middleweight title, and prove a lot of doubters wrong in this fight. If you guys enjoy the UFC content, I will be getting back to uploading more and more. I had a couple of road bumps that were in the way, but we are back for good. If you guys enjoy the content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That would be absolutely amazing for you to do so. And let's jump right into the video talking about Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev and of why Dricus is going to do a lot better than people think and, in my opinion, win this fight. Now, let's talk about this fight a little bit more in depth. Dricus Du Plessis is the UFC middleweight champion at 23 wins and 2 losses, as Khamzat Chimaev is breezing into this title fight, his first of his career, at a crazy 14 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws. Their last fights were both wins. Of course, for Khamzat, that would be the case. Dricus has never lost inside the UFC, beating the likes of Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland twice, Robert Whittaker, Derek Brunson, and a lot more. Now, Khamzat Chimaev, his last fight was back in October in Abu Dhabi, UFC 308. Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway, and he fought Robert Whittaker in that fight, absolutely crushing his teeth in. Now, this fight is going to be very interesting because Khamzat is 1000% the better grappler out of the two in this fight. Dricus is a little bit unorthodox, or rather a lot of bit of unorthodox, and I do think that he's going to be able to take advantage of this fight between Khamzat Chimaev and himself. I think the best take on this fight is Mr. Caio Borralho himself talking about it. He talked about and said that he leans towards Khamzat Chimaev winning this fight unless if Dricus can stop the grappling in round 1. And if he can do that, he believes Dricus will go out there and win this fight. Now, I have one slight caveat with this take. I do think that Dricus Du Plessis is going to win this fight the night of August 16th. I do think that it is going to be an incredible fight between these two individuals. I don't think it's going to be a simple fight, but I do think that Dricus has all the tools to go out there and stop the wrestling coming back. If we look at this Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev fight, Robert Whittaker is one of the best anti-takedown artists in UFC history. He's defended the takedowns from the likes of Yoel Romero and other individuals out there. Well, Khamzat Chimaev is one of the best chain wrestlers in the UFC currently. Maybe of all time, honestly. He might not shoot for one takedown, but he's able to switch that into another takedown and another takedown to truly go out there and really emphasize and get his ground position on his certain opponents. We look at this Robert Whittaker fight. Whittaker was doing an amazing job going in and defending the different submission attempts and different positions from Khamzat Chimaev until he was able to get the face crank, ultimately losing the fight due to Whittaker's teeth caving in. Now, I do think that Dricus Du Plessis, even though he might not be the best technical grappler out there, I do think that he's going to be a little bit harder for Khamzat Chimaev to barely be able to get on the ground and deal with. I know Dricus hasn't necessarily fought a true wrestler in his career other than Derek Brunson, who wasn't exactly at the peak prime of his performance when those two fought. Now, Dricus Du Plessis is a very big UFC middleweight. He might be even bigger than Khamzat. He is an inch shorter, but his reach is 1 inch longer. His leg reach is 3 inches longer. Dricus is a very big, filled-out guy. He walks around really heavy. There's rumors that's going around that he walks around 230 pounds outside of camp. And Khamzat Chimaev is going to have a very tough time going with someone like Dricus, who is this big yet this bulky in there as well. Robert Whittaker is about 5'10", 185 pounds, obviously, because he fights in the weight class, but he doesn't come down from 230 pounds quite like Dricus Du Plessis does. Now, the one concern I have about Khamzat Chimaev is I know he's been going through and ragdolling a bunch of individuals inside the UFC. Like I said, Kevin Holland, Robert Whittaker, Li Jingliang. A lot of these names are very good UFC fighters. Don't get me wrong. Kevin Holland has fought 4 times this year, going 2-2. Robert Whittaker just fought last weekend against Rainier the Ritter and lost a split decision versus one of the best up-and-coming fighters inside the UFC. You know, Robert Whittaker and all of Khamzat's opponents are good, but they are nowhere near the level of competition of Dricus Du Plessis. Dricus' toughest opponent of all time might be either Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland, or Robert Whittaker. Might have been any of those guys. He has 4 fights against those guys. 1 against Whittaker, 1 against Adesanya, 2 against Strickland. And he has won all those fights. The first fight with Strickland, very, very close. That second fight with Strickland, on the other hand, came back and dominated it start to finish. Chimaev, on the other hand, has one really major fight with Robert Whittaker, and I'm not trying to discredit Khamzat's fight against Whittaker getting the finish that fast. Whittaker is one of the best middleweights of all time, but comparatively to Dricus Du Plessis, he has a better resume under his belt inside the UFC middleweight division. Dricus Du Plessis is a very, very good fighter. If we look at some of his reversals on Robert Whittaker, he was able to get the trip and drop and take him down in the first round. One of the best anti-grapplers inside the UFC, as I talked about against that fight with Chimaev. He was able to take down and submit Israel Adesanya, one of the first person to ever submit Israel Adesanya, and he was able to go toe-and-toe to strike with Sean Strickland. I do think that this is going to be a very, very, very interesting thing going in between these two individuals as well. Khamzat is going to shoot for the takedown constantly. He is going to want to go and ragdoll Dricus and get this thing done in the first round. But the one thing Dricus has over Khamzat that is going to be the most impactful thing in this fight is his cardio. Dricus Du Plessis has 5-round cardio. We have seen it time and time again. He was able to go out there and beat Israel Adesanya in the 4th round. He went to a decision with Sean Strickland twice, and in that second fight, looked as fresh as he did in the 1st round, throwing some of the most unusual, unorthodox techniques and kicks as any single person has, and really was able to go out there and dominate Strickland start to finish. And I think that that is going to be the big thing that is going to disgruntle or really get under Khamzat's skin in this fight, is Dricus's will and Dricus's passion and power to go out there and really stop the in-between exchanges between himself and Khamzat Chimaev. Du Plessis has all of these skills to go out there and really be able to fine-tune this fight to himself. He's just got to survive the first round, which is a very, very, very interesting concept that we all say, considering that Chimaev has won so many of his fights inside the first round. Robert Whittaker was a first-round submission. He beat Kevin Holland first round submission, Li Jingliang first round submission, Gerald Mearshart first round knockout because he was so worried about the takedowns. Khamzat Chimaev is an absolute monster, but Dricus is as well. Like I said, he might be a little bit bigger than Khamzat Chimaev, even with being shorter than him. He's probably a little bit bulkier. He's got so many different good ways to go out there and attack. And my favorite thing about Dricus Du Plessis is he is one of the smartest fighters inside the UFC. He has been taking his time to really lay out the groundwork and what he needs to do in order to really propel himself to win this fight. Dricus is not a stupid fighter in any regard. Dricus is going to go out there and really show why he is one of the smartest individual fighters inside the UFC as a whole. And I think that this fight versus Khamzat Chimaev is going to really tell it. Like I said, he's going to be able to get it back up to his feet, in my opinion. I could see a world where Khamzat does end up finishing this in the first round, but if Khamzat isn't able to do that and Dricus is able to push this to the 2nd and 3rd and 4th round, I think that this is going to get a lot easier for Mr. Dricus Du Plessis to win this fight. I think that this is easily his toughest task, but I am such a believer in Dricus Du Plessis at this point. He has gone out there and proved me wrong and wrong time and time again, until I picked him to beat Adesanya, until I picked him to beat Strickland yet again. And I do think that Dricus is going to go out there and beat Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319. He's got all the skills to do it. Chimaev is a little bit unproven in that cardio department, and I really do think that Dricus is going to go out there and have a massive showing against the Chimaev man himself, the Wolf. And I do think that Dricus Du Plessis is going to retain that title and become one of the best middleweights to ever live, and for a lot more people to consider and understand him as one of the GOATs. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA. Please let me know what you think down below in the comment section about Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Like I said, I think that this is going to be a very close fight. I think a lot of people are waving off Dricus Du Plessis in this one. The odds are minus 180 to plus 150 in this fight. Khamzat Chimaev is obviously the favorite, but I do think that he is going to go out there and absolutely withstand all the pressure Chimaev throws at him and ultimately win this belt against one of the toughest opponents he has ever faced inside the UFC. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please let me know what you think down below in the comment section about these two individuals going out there and fighting. I do think it is going to be a very interesting fight between these two individuals, but I also do think it is going to be a very good performance from both, and Dricus Du Plessis ultimately getting the win. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon with more UFC content and news.